Fire welcome back, Blues. If you're a true Chelsea supporter, you're in the right place. Blue Heart, before we dive into this emotional tribute to our captain, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment if you want more deep dives like this one. Stories that go beyond the headlines, beyond the stats, straight into the heart of what it means to wear the badge. This isn't just another highlight reel. This is about passion, history, and identity. Today, we're talking about Rhys James, not just our right back, not just our captain, but the soul of Chelsea Football Club, a legacy in motion, a blue through and through. So stick around, because if you love real football stories, the kind that remind you why you fell in love with this club in the first place, this one's for you. White down pointing backhand index like. White down pointing backhand index subscribe. White down pointing backhand index comment your thoughts on Rhys and who you want to see next. Let's get into it. Everyone's going to talk about Cobham, and rightly so. The lad has lit up the season like a spark in a dark tunnel. João Pedro will get his flowers, Enzo Fernandez will get endless headlines, and Moises Caicedo, well, at least has stopped looking like he was chasing ghosts for 90 minutes. But while the spotlight swings wildly over the pitch, some of us, we're looking elsewhere. We're watching the one who's always been there. The one who bled for this badge long before the others arrived. The one who's worn this shirt not just as a job, but as a birthright. His name is Rhys James. Let's just get this out of the way. Yes, he's been injured a lot. Like, should we wrap him in bubble wrap? A lot? There are Chelsea fans who joke that he's got a loyalty card for the medical room. But to define Rhys James by his injuries is to judge a book by the chapters you skipped. What he represents goes far beyond minutes played or games missed. Rhys James is Chelsea, in blood, in heart, and in spirit. You know how every club talks about being a family. It's on posters, in hashtags, in every generic PR tweet after a loss. But with Rhys, it's literal. He didn't choose Chelsea like you pick a club on FIFA. He is Chelsea. He grew up within walking distance of Stamford Bridge. His sister, Lauren James, is a superstar in the women's team. They are, quite literally, the first family of Cobham. If you sliced open the James household Sunday roast, it would probably bleed blue. Rhys was built for this. Not made. Built. From scratch. Through the mud, the academy, the doubts. While others came to Chelsea for glory, Rhys James came home. But even with all that talent, yes, talent, because let's not forget just how absurdly good he is, it wasn't always a given that he'd make it. Back when Chelsea was run like a high-speed luxury conveyor belt of stars, there wasn't much room for Cobham graduates to break through. You were more likely to see a 19-year-old from Brazil signed for £30 million than a kid from the academy getting a shot. So Rhys did what many don't. He left Wigan Athletic. That's where the journey truly began. Imagine that for a second. You're a teenager at Chelsea, one of the richest clubs in the world. You've trained with world-class players. But to chase your dream, you pack your bags and go to the Championship, to a club fighting relegation, to earn your stripes. And at Wigan, he didn't just survive. He thrived. The fans adored him. They sang for him. He was their best player, their young warrior. He was so good. Some Wigan fans joked that he wasn't real, that he was some kind of Premier League cheat code sent down to tease them. You want leadership? He captained them in his final game. At 19. In a relegation scrap. No nerves. Just Rhys. Then came the twist. The kind of twist only football can provide. Chelsea got hit with a transfer ban. No new signings. No spending. No magic wand from Marina Granovskaya. Panic? Maybe a little. But in came Frank Lampard, a club legend with a plan. A plan built on youth. Mount, Tammy, Tomori, and yes, Rhys James. He was back, and when he made his debut, it was like watching a long-awaited prophecy fulfilled. He wasn't just good. He was better than good. His first few games had fans double-checking his age. He bombed down the right like a tank with rocket fuel. Crosses whipped in with such precision you'd think he was laser-guided. He tackled like he meant it. He played with a calmness that screamed, "I was born for this." Rhys James didn't just fit into the first team. He elevated it. And then came the setbacks. The cool part of the story. The injuries. One after another. First it was the ankle, then the hamstring, then the knee. The kind of repetitive misery that would break many players. Some fans started murmuring, "Is he injury-prone? Can we rely on him?" But here's the thing. Rhys James never asked for pity, never made excuses. He just got to work, again and again. Rehab, rebuild, repeat. While others looked ahead to transfers or talked in the media, Rhys stayed quiet, focused, present, loyal, because loyalty is what defines him. While managers came and went like seasons, Tuchel, Potter, Lampard again, and now Maresca, while players jumped ship, got sold, or simply ghosted their way through games, Rhys James stayed. Injured or not, playing or watching, he stayed. And eventually, that loyalty was repaid in the biggest way. He was made club captain. Not just any captain. The youngest Chelsea captain in years. The first academy-born player to wear the armband full-time since John Terry. That's not just a decision. That's a statement. In a club flooded with signings, splashing hundreds of millions on new toys, the club turned to one of its own to lead. Now, let's be honest. Being Chelsea captain isn't a ceremonial role. It's not a photo op. It's a burden. It means answering tough questions, facing the press when you'd rather disappear, leading a team full of stars, egos, and more languages than the UN. But Rhys carried it, even from the sidelines, even when injured. And when he was fit, oh boy, that right side was a war zone. James patrolled it like a king defending his kingdom. Opposition wingers didn't just struggle. They disappeared. He wasn't just a fullback. He was a playmaker, a wall, a weapon. The kind of player who made you believe we were on the verge of something great again. And then, just when the football gods seemed to be smiling, it happened. Chelsea became world champions. Yes, you heard that right. While other clubs were tweeting memes, Chelsea went and won the FIFA Club World Cup. Beat PSG in the final. Not just beat, outplayed them. And who lifted the trophy? Who stood tall, armband on, tears in his eyes? Rhys, Bloody, James, the lad who grew up dreaming of Stamford Bridge, who went to Wigan so he could come back stronger, who sat through injury after injury, who never left. He lifted the biggest club trophy in the world. He didn't score the winner. He didn't get the assist. But it didn't matter, because some players lift trophies. Others, they represent them. That was Rhys James on that stage, standing tall not just as a captain, but as a symbol. Let's talk about symbols for a moment. In modern football, they are hard to find. Clubs swap players like Monopoly pieces. Loyalty is a buzzword, not a reality. But every now and then, a player comes along who defies that. Someone who sticks when it's easier to leave. Someone who chooses a badge, even when it hurts. Rhys James is that someone. There's a reason fans still sing his name when he's not playing. A reason kids wear his number. A reason you feel something when you see him on the pitch. It's not just talent. It's connection. And look, we all know he needs to stay fit. No one's denying it. He himself would probably be the first to say it. But even at 70%, James offers something few do. Leadership. Presence. A calm, quiet fire. He doesn't need to scream. He doesn't need drama. He lets his football speak. And when it speaks, it's poetry. What's next for Rhys? That's the big question. Can he stay healthy? Can he return to his absolute best? Can he lead this young, unpredictable Chelsea side to more silverware? If you ask me, yes, because James isn't finished. His not peaking, his beginning, has been forged in fire. Every setback has made him sharper. Every injury has made him tougher. He doesn't just want to win. He wants to win with us. For Chelsea. And in a world full of superstars, influencers, and TikTok wonder kids, having a real one who grew up loving this club, who still does, and who's willing to bleed for it, is rare, priceless. So while the headlines keep rolling in for others, while new signings flash their smiles and agents plot their next move, some of us are looking at Rhys James, at our captain, at our boy. Because football isn't just about trophies. It's about stories. And his is one hell of a story. From Cobham to captain. From Wigan to world champion. From the physio's room to the biggest stages. His lived it all. And through it all, he never stopped being one of us. Rhys James is not just a footballer. He is a legacy in motion. And if you can't see that, mate, you're watching the wrong sport. Rhys James is not just a footballer. He is a legacy in motion. And I mean that literally, even if that motion has occasionally been on crutches or with kinesiology tape wrapped tighter than the club's finances under Todd Burley. When you watch Rhys, even just warming up, boots tied, eyes scanning the pitch, you feel something different. It's not bravado. It's not theater. It's rooted. There's a gravity to him, a silent authority. He doesn't have to jump around barking orders to be felt. He just is, present, anchored, like the very foundation of Chelsea beneath his boots. Look at the way he steps onto the grass at Stamford Bridge. Not with a jog or a skip, but like he's walking into his home. Because it is his home. The corner flags, the tunnel, the West Stand roaring his name. This isn't a job site to Rhys. It's sacred ground. He walks like he remembers every blade of grass from his teenage years. As if, deep down, the pitch still belongs to the boy who used to sneak glimpses from a training ground, dreaming of days like these. And when he wears the armband, oh, mate, it's like it was made for him. Not just stitched on, but absorbed into the skin. It doesn't look like something is earned through negotiation or branding. It looks like destiny. Some captains look like they are borrowing it. Rhys looks like he was born with it, like it grew on his arm the day he walked into Cobham with boots too big and dreams even bigger. What makes it more special, though more authentic, is that James never shouts about his love for Chelsea. He doesn't need to tweet nostalgic quotes or wear a retro kit for clout. He just lives it. Every touch, every duel, every clenched fist after a block cross. That's his loyalty. Not performative. Real. Lived. And that subtlety, that quiet pride, it makes it resonate even louder with those of us who see beyond the Instagram posts and media spins. He's not just a symbol for the fans. He's a mirror, a reflection of all of us who stayed when things got ugly, who cheered through the mismanagement, the defeats, the sackings, the chaos. Rhys represents the endurance of this club, the soul, and I don't use that word lightly, because for all the millions spent, the logos changed, the branding redone, the soul of Chelsea doesn't live in contracts or strategies. It lives in players like him. And when you think of the iconic Chelsea names, Terry, Lampard, Drogba, check, they all had something in common. It wasn't just brilliance. It wasn't just silverware. It was this connection, a sense of belonging. Rhys has that same energy. Not manufactured, not forced, just deeply embedded, like it's sewn into his DNA. Terry led with blood, Lampard with fire. Rhys leads with presence, the kind that makes you straighten your back just watching him walk past. Even in his quietest moments, you can see what it means to him. The way he claps the fans, always. The way he puts a hand on the younger lad's shoulders, mid-match, no cameras around. The way he turns to the bench after a goal, not for glory, just checking. Always alert, always locked in. As if somewhere in the back of his mind, he's still that teenager fighting for his chance. As if he knows how quickly it can be taken away. And that's the thing, isn't it? That tension, that grit behind the calm. There's a part of Rhys that always looks like he's carrying unfinished business. Like he's never truly satisfied. Maybe it's the injuries. Maybe it's the years of proving himself to people who never truly believed. Or maybe, just maybe, it's because he holds himself to a standard no one else can match. And we see it. We feel it. When he goes down holding his leg, the entire bridge holds its breath, not just because we're scared of losing a good player, but because we know what it cost him. The pain, the frustration, the hours he'll spend alone, in rooms with physios, doing the same exercises again and again just to come back. Again. And yet he always does. He always comes back. Stronger, smarter, hungrier. You see it in his eyes. Not wide-eyed hope, not arrogance, but that cold, focused determination you only see in people who've been through everything. That's what elevates him. He's not just skilled. He's been refined in pressure, polished by adversity, hardened by setbacks. That's what gives his legacy weight. It's not built on moments of glory alone. It's built on the bruises beneath the kit, the weeks in hydrotherapy, the mental battles fans never see. Every step he takes now carries the weight of what is overcome. And when he stood there with the Club World Cup in his hands, under the floodlights, the badge over his heart, the captain's armband tied around his bicep, there was no arrogance, no celebration for show, just a look that said, "I told you, I was always coming back." It wasn't just a trophy. It was a statement, a resurrection. And maybe that's why we love him more than most. Because Rhys James didn't just rise. He returned. Again, and again, and again. And every time he does, we're reminded of who we are, a club that doesn't fold, doesn't forget, and doesn't fear the dark. Rhys James is not just a footballer. He's our anchor, our captain, our beating heart. He's our anchor, our captain, our beating heart. And not just in the romantic sense we fans like to toss around after a big win. No, literally, tactically, emotionally, symbolically, he holds his team together like a hinge in a door that's been slammed 100 times but still opens the same way every morning. You take Rhys James out of this Chelsea team, and it's not just about losing a right back. It's about losing equilibrium, losing that calm, that ballast. The rhythm goes off. The chemistry changes. And even the most expensive signings start to look a little lost, like they've arrived at a dinner party and don't know where to sit. Rhys brings structure, not just with his body positioning on the pitch, but with his very presence in the dressing room. He doesn't need to bark. He doesn't have to pound his chest or give Churchillian speeches in the tunnel. When Rhys looks at you, you get the message. You just know what's expected. It's a rare quality in a leader to make people sharper simply by standing next to them. And yes, there's a technical side to it too. His range of passing, silky. His ability to transition from a back three to an overlapping wing back to an inverted midfielder all within the same game. Honestly, it's ridiculous. We're talking about a lad who can body a 6 feet 2 inches wing off the ball, then ping a 40-yard diagonal straight to a teammate's laces without breaking stride. There are midfielders in this league with 10 years more experience who can't do that consistently. People outside the club often forget, or ignore, just how complete Rhys James is. They call him a defender, as if that's his limit. But those of us who watch every minute, who know the details, see it differently. He's an architect, a disruptor, a creator, a safety net. He's a player who takes the chaos of modern football, press-resistant midfielders, high lines, counter-presses, and turns it into order. A footballing Swiss Army knife. If he were born in Germany, Bayern would have cloned him by now. And still, what sets him apart isn't just skill. It's restraint. There's a maturity in his game, even when his body is screaming for speed or Hollywood ball. He picks his moments. He reads a rhythm of a match the way a conductor reads a symphony, slowing things down when it's frantic, accelerating when others are caught flat-footed. You don't teach that. You don't learn that on a loan spell. That's ingrained. That's who he is. And oh, those tackles. Let's pause on that for a second. There's something almost poetic about the way Rhys James tackles. Not wild, not reckless. It's all timing, all instinct. Like a man who knows the future a second before it happens. You'll see a winger bombing forward, crowd rising, defenders backing off, and then clack, Rhys is slid in, clean, cool, surgical. Ball taken, danger gone, attacker sitting on the turf wondering what just happened. And there's no celebration, no fist pump, no look-at-me moment. Just Rhys, up on his feet, walking off like he took out the trash. Again, business as usual. That, right there, is Chelsea. It's that attitude, that understatement, that makes him feel like a throwback, like something out of another era. He could have played alongside Mark Leal. He could have played under Mourinho 1.0, and no one would have batted an eyelid. He's got that spirit, that bite without bark character. A touch of the old school in a world of filters and flashy edits. And still, despite all that steel, there's warmth to him. There's something incredibly human about Rhys. You see it in the way he checks on opponents after a collision, the way he puts an arm around young players when they come off, the way he lifts a teammate who's just been subbed after a tough match. These aren't gestures for cameras. These are moments of character. Small things. Real things. The kind of things that make players follow you without being told. That's the unshakable core of Rhys James. Beneath the physicality, the technique, the cool, there's a heart beating not just for football, but for this club. He has never distanced himself from the badge, even in moments where it might have been easy. Never hinted at greener grass, never flirted with narratives about needing a new challenge. And believe me, he could have. Top clubs abroad have circled like hawks, the kind of clubs who throw salary figures around like confetti. But Rhys never blinked. He stayed, not because it was easy, not because it was comfortable, but because it was right. That's the measure of a man who understands the weight of home. Because Stamford Bridge, for him, isn't a workplace. It's a legacy. It's a dream made real. It's the place where the kid from Cobham, with his sister tearing up the women's side and his family in the stands, became the captain of the club he loved. And I mean really loved. Not the kind of love you say in interviews. The kind that keeps you coming back after every injury. That keeps you lifting weights at 7 a.m. in January. That makes you take responsibility even when it's not your fault. That makes you apologize to fans when results go wrong. Not because PR tells you to, but because you care. Rhys James cares. And in this era of branding and sponsorships and club projects run like tech startups, that matters a lot more than people give credit for. It means that every time he steps out on that pitch, he's not just playing for points. He's playing for pride, for memory, for the badge he wore long before it was stitched into his matchday kit. And we, the fans, we feel that. We sense it. And even when the results aren't there, when the system is shaky or the manager's playing tactical bingo, we look at Rhys and we think, we're still Chelsea. We've still got him. Because as long as he's on that pitch, even for 45 minutes, even off the bench, we've got something the money can't buy. We've got soul. And if you've made it this far, it's probably because you feel it too. You get what Rhys James means, not just to this squad, but to us, to Chelsea, to the story we're all living together. Because players like him don't come around often. Players who aren't just here for the game, but for the shirt, for the people, for the fight. So now it's your turn, Blue family. Blue heart if you believe in this journey. Speech balloon if Rhys James means something to you. Fisted hand sign if you've stood by this club through thick and thin, just like he has. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Tell us what Rhys means to you, because this isn't just a video. It's a tribute to our captain, to our future, to Rhys James, forever one of our own. Up the Chels. Blue heart fisted hand sign. Pre-gun to ChatGPT.